love video. There it is. I guess we started.
There's that cracked up couple that is messed up, and we are broken.
Cracked clay.
But someone healed us. Someone put those pieces back together, and His Spirit shines through us. That's our prayer, that you guys see Jesus through us, because we don't want people to do what we did in this messed up world. We want married couples to do it God's way. Building an affair-proof marriage God's way. Are you in a rut?
So who are you?
Are you in a rut? Let me ask you people. Are you in a rut? Are you? Do you have kids that all they do, their number one pastime in your marriage is breaking up your fights? Just saying. Are they breaking up your fights? Is that what your kids are seeing all day long? I read something the other day, how when people divorce, the agony of their parents arguing all the time was even more violent to the kids than them kids saying, more damaging than the divorce.
The studies, we were looking at some research the other day preparing for something we have upcoming, and studies show that children who live in a home that's like a war zone with conflict, constant conflict,
breaking up fights,
constant conflict between mom and dad, that those kids are, and the people who are staying together for the kids and are arguing with each other all the time and fighting in front of the kids and yelling and screaming and demonstrating some very bad behavior in front of their children, those children are more likely to have behavioral issues, and it's more damaging to them, to the children, than it is the divorce. Because in the divorce, their home becomes a little more peaceful.
We've had people tell us that they actually went up to their parents and said, "Why you guys divorced already? You guys hate each other." I've had people tell us how bad they get along, but we're not going to get divorced. We're going to kill each other first before we get divorced. Is that really how you want your kids to see your marriage? Just saying.
And we're not saying get divorced, because divorce is
divorce
horrible,
is the worst,
painful,
terrible
agony.
Terrible.
But
don't use that as a crutch to treat each other really bad. Be
intentional about your marriage. Don't live in misery either. Right. Don't live in misery. Work on your marriage.
Do it God's way.
Don't check out of it. Work on it.
Because the groom is the Christ. It represents the church. We're going to talk about that later. Honey, if you come to me and you say you want to talk, and we have a great talk, and you tell me about some kind of problem you have, and I can also help you fix it, would that be a bonus?
No.
Why?
It's not a bonus unless I specifically ask you to help me fix it.
Okay, explain that.
Well, because we will explain today why men and women are different in the way that they talk to each other, because today we're talking about you understanding. So in the couple acronyms, C was closeness, O was openness, and if you're close to your wife and open to your wife, that's going to lead into being understanding of your wife, probably. So Tim is going to read for us.
So First Peter is awesome. 3:7. Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. I'm going to let you handle that.
Okay, so you notice Peter is not saying to understand your wife, because we know that, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Men have trouble understanding us, but to live with us in an understanding way, right?
Yeah.
To at least want to have the spirit of wanting to live with her in an understanding way.
Right.
And we're going to try to help you.
This is really important tonight.
Try to help you know what that means.
Right.
And so some people have issue with that verse because it says that the woman is showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel.
But not in the way you think.
But it's not. It's like saying that women, we're vulnerable. We're vulnerable, where men are not as much vulnerable, and they're able to shoulder more than women are typically. And it's just like a comparison between porcelain and, say you have a porcelain coffee cup and you have one of those old-fashioned metal coffee cups, right? which one's going to break easier? The porcelain one, not the metal one. So he's the metal one, I'm the porcelain one. And usually the porcelain, the fine china, can be much more valuable than the old piece of metal he was drinking out of on the camp stove, right? So that is actually...
So that's what we have to understand.
It's to escalate women. It's to escalate women, not putting them down.
He puts them on a pedestal.
Not putting them down as a
trophy.
pedestal, but saying that they're fragile and they're valuable and they're fragile and they're God's daughters. So in the heat of frustration, though, sometimes he may get angry and go and stonewall. What does that mean, stonewalling?
Stonewall, because maybe she said she wants to talk about something. And we're like, we get real defensive. What do you mean she wants to talk? What did I do wrong? Oh, no, I just run to the hills. But she maybe just wants to talk to you. She wants to communicate with you.
So stonewalling, when you're just shut down.
Right.
Just shut down and walk away. I don't want to talk to her.
It's got to be something bad. We're imagining things that's not true.
He thinks she's disrespecting him in the way that she's talking to him, and
right.
Sometimes, God has not made your wife to, and so when you stonewall and you walk away instead of taking the time to listen to her,
right.
Then that's you create an attitude that God didn't create her to be thriving in. He didn't create her to live in a life with that kind of attitude where she's shut off and she can't talk to you because you shut her off or turned away from her. So when you realize what Peter is talking about when it comes to his wife, it comes to your wife saying that, saying that to live in an understanding way, when you start to understand what that means to live in an understanding way, it will help your marriage tremendously because it'll help open the door in your marriage for communication.
Handle porcelain with care.
Right. Because we women really like to communicate, right? So in studies, in school, if you think about it in school, the boys always score higher on the analytical stuff and the girls on the verbal because men are built to be analyzers and they want to fix everything. But why
should we communicate unless we're trying to fix something? That's how men think.
But she is just verbal. She's verbal, and women need to talk it out. Right. And doing this is actually has been really good. We had a really good conversation yesterday about it, and just how we ourselves, in our marriage, it opened up some good questions of him trying to understand and giving examples with each other.
Right.
So in marriage, like Tim said in the beginning, the husband is the Christ figure and the woman is the church figure. So just like the church, how Raymond, Mr. Purcell says hello, Mr. and Mrs. Bratton. So just like the church puts its burdens on Christ, the woman needs to be able to take her burdens to her husband. And it's a compliment to him when she wants to talk to him about it,
she
right?
gives her burdens to us.
Because you have those big, broad shoulders for her to lay her burdens on. And so it's a compliment when you shut her out, when you don't talk to her, then it devastates her. Right. It devastates her spirit. So how can you be understanding to her? I think you posted this week. What is your most powerful weapon in marriage?
Our ears.
Oh,
listen to your sweetie. She just wants you to sit there and talk to her. Not fix it, but just listen. Most likely she already has that. She already knows the remedy of it. But she just wants us to listen to her. Men, listen to your wife. Use both ears. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. In James 1:7, I think, a wise husband thinks before he talks or something like that. James, a wise husband listens before he talks. Listen to your wife. Understand her.
So men, if you can just grasp that you don't have to solve her problems, you're going to take a giant step towards empathy and understanding her, right? So when she comes to you and says, we need to talk, what should you do?
Yes, honey. Probably a good question to ask. Maybe a lot of husbands are going to ask. Well, let me ask you 2 questions. Number 1, are you mad at me? And number 2, are you looking for me for an ear or looking for me to help you resolve it? Those are 2 good questions to ask. Because 9 times out of 100, she says, just an ear. Just listen to me. And you know what? When you go back and look at your wife after you sit there and listen to her and didn't even say hardly anything, she's a happy camper. Mm-hmm. You may see her down the road and go, boy, she looks happy. What happened? And you get down right down to it is that you listened to her. And you should be grateful for that. That your wife wanted to talk to you about what's going on in her life, no matter remember, no matter what it means to you or how frivolous it means to you, it's important to her because she wants to talk to you about it. Look at her in the eyes, eye contact, attention, give her all the attention you need.
So, I love that right from the man's mouth that it seems frivolous. That's so funny because that is just such the take on it, right? That's what we actually had this conversation yesterday. He asked me, why is it that when you talk to me, you don't want me to fix it? I don't understand. Why do you bother talking to me? And then we read in the book.
Do you need a solution or my ear?
And we need the same thing. So usually she knows what her solution is. She just needs to unload. She just needs to talk it through. Women release their emotions by talking. And so they're kind of like a tea kettle where all these things happen during the day and it all builds up in there and they've got to just let off a little steam. And sometimes she might not know even what she's feeling and she'll just say, I need to talk. And he can say, what about what? I don't know. I just need to talk to you. And just talking it out will help her get in touch with her feelings and her problems, and she'll then realize what's making her feel uneasy. And what's really important is we've said in every book that we've read, every book we've walked through with you all, setting aside time face to face every single day. If possible. I mean, if you travel for work, you then schedule that time with her. But even when we travel for work, when you traveled every day, when you were out of town all week before
at least 15 minutes.
Yeah, we still video called. So that was great because we could video. In today's technology, we still did our devotions together every morning by video call, and we still talked every night by video call. It wasn't just texting and phone calls, we videoed. So that kept us connected to each other. And that was our first year of marriage.
Remember, men, we are analytical. They are verbal. Mm-hmm. That's where they get that's who they are. That's how God made us. We're so different. We have to give her that need of being verbal with her and just listening to her. We always want to solve issues. At work, we're solving issues all day long, solving problems. But we don't want to come home and this is our employee, this is our equal. Right? She's got needs.
Right. So it was interesting for me to read that the only time men like to take a problem to another man is for a solution. Hey man, I got this problem. What do you think? And they give it that they just don't talk like we do. Right? They just don't talk like we do.
We don't go to the bathroom. We don't go to the bathroom and hey John, I want to go bath. Let's go to the bathroom and talk. We don't do that. Women love to talk. Okay. And they want your ear.
They do. So you will make her feel valued and loved. If you are giving her that time to just listen, even if you've had a hard day at work and the last thing you feel like doing is talking, even like the last few days we were feeling under the weather, and even though we were like together and during the day, still at night when we got in bed, I looked at him like, okay, talk to me.
I was good to listen.
Yeah, and he did a good job.
I just listened because
he's been learning a lot.
So, guys, but I'm just showing you how this happens. This starts a lot of fights. Then we think a woman's going to come talk to a man, and they think, oh no, she's going to nag me, or she's going to say something. What I do, get in trouble. Then we do the opposite of what she really wants. Just us to talk.
You know what I think?
You
I think we probably
fight.
nag less if you guys just listen.
Absolutely.
I do.
I think a lot of nagging comes from that.
Yeah, that pent up, like the steam, the tea kettle, she's exploded because she didn't get to let off any steam if there was a problem. So just like we talked about in closeness and openness of taking care of a problem right when it happens.
So don't be suspicious. She's not going to bawl you out. Mm-hmm. She just wants to talk.
So what have we learned so far? Closeness with your wife, making time for her every day, be open to her and talking to her, listening to her, and schedule it. If you have to schedule that time, and some men they say are like, oh my gosh, I got to like schedule time to talk to my wife every day. Well, what am I going to talk about? Well, you don't have to worry about that because she's going to come prepared. You just have to listen. Okay, just bring your ears. Bring your ears. If you can't understand her, give us a call. It sounds. Okay, so we have messages here. Raymond Purcell says, big amen, brother Tim.
We love you, buddy.
And then Miss Natalie, always enjoy listening to the two of you on Sunday night. I'm glad you're off your facts, Miss Natalie, and you're back with us.
Women are very emotional. Wives love to talk to release their emotions because a woman is integrated personally.
Personality. Like a tea
integrated personality. Just like a tea kettle.
Which I just talked about.
And when she builds up all day, it's like that tea kettle that goes off. She needs to talk and get that emotion out of her. And she needs to talk to you, husbands.
Okay, you were going to tell them some ways.
But listen to this. She'll feel you're trying to understand her when you listen and can repeat back what she said.
So really listen.
Don't pretend. Be
really
genuine.
Listen.
Be genuine. Boy, you want to drive them crazy? Do that, man.
You can repeat it back to her.
You don't try to fix her problems unless she specifically asks for a solution. You try to identify her feelings. You never dismiss her feelings, no matter how logical they may seem to you. You say, I appreciate you sharing that with me. That's what you do. You can do this, men. For your marriage, for your kids' sake, for your marriage's sake. You don't interrupt her when she's trying to tell you how she feels. You apologize, admit when you're wrong. You cut her some slack during the monthly cycle. You see something that needs to be done and you do it without a lot of hassle. You express appreciation for all she does. Honey, I could never do your job. You pray with her and pray for her. Do that. Do that for your spouse. Understand she's different than you are. Understand that.
All right.
Building a fair-proof marriage God's way.
All right.
Because this don't happen in the marriage. Don't make your marriage vulnerable to the attacks of the devil. That's what Crack Clay is all about. All right. We love you guys.
We love
More
you guys.
importantly, Jesus loves you. He wants your marriage to be something that you continuously put Him first. Okay, in your marriage. Second. That's the priority. God first, spouse second, then the kids and all the way down. Okay? If you do it that way, it's going to be awesome. We love you guys.
We love you guys. Let us know if you have any prayer requests.
Spring is coming.
We can't wait. Bye.
Go Flames.